Good evening, Jets fans, or afternoon, or morning, whenever you're getting this. I am Glenn Naughton. This is JetNation Radio. A special, just a quickie here. Touch on the breaking news last night. The Jets have come to terms with superstar running back Le'Veon Bell, formerly of the Pittsburgh Steelers. We talked about this on last night's show. As, of course, this was a possibility. Bell looked like he was playing some games with the media. Well, not even playing games, just trolling a bit, throwing out little nuggets here and there. We heard stuff through the media that most of which all turned out to be completely bogus. This went to show where the insiders don't always have the inside info. We heard the Raiders, we heard the Ravens, we heard the Jets, we heard the Niners. Teams were interested, teams weren't. We heard that he was looking for 17 to 20 million a year, which would have been just mind-boggling. In the end, it's 4 years, 52 million with 33 guaranteed, 17 million a year guaranteed through the first 2 years of the deal. But all that matters right now is the Jets got arguably the most versatile, most explosive offensive player in the NFL in Le'Veon Bell. This is a multi-time All-Pro, multi-time Pro Bowler. A guy who's had 75 catches or more 3 different times in his career. Could probably make a case that he's the best wide receiver in this free agent class. So now you add him to the mix. Having a guy like Le'Veon Bell come out of the backfield, it's gonna help Sam Darnold immensely. Not just the obvious, the big plays on the ground, the fact that he can catch the ball through the air, just play action, giving him tons of options, giving Adam Gase tons of options. If you're a Jets fan, I don't know how this isn't exciting, especially given the price tag. You can kind of somewhat understand when numbers like 17, 20 million a year start flying around, where people take, pause a bit and say, hang on a minute, 20 million a year for a back, even if you can't afford it. I can kind of understand that. But in the end, they get him for far less than what was being reported. And the Jets now have the best offensive weapon they've had in possibly ever when all is said and done. I mean, you look at what Le'Veon Bell has done over the last few years when he's healthy. 1,300 yards, 1,268, 1,291 on the ground. Through the air, as I said earlier, 375 catch seasons in the last 4 years, 850 yards, 616 yards, 655 yards. He's a guy who you can count on to get you in the ballpark of 2,000 yards of offense from the line of scrimmage, and this is a guy who just had a year off. I talked about that a couple times during the offseason and during the lead into free agency, is that this is a guy he's got fresh legs. He's not going to have the legs of your typical 27, 28-year-old back. A full year off to rest and recuperate from the beating that he takes as a running back in the NFL. So this is a great move. It takes it makes the missing on a center a little bit more. You can tolerate it a little more, but that position still has to be fixed. The Jets are in a little bit of a bind there. Talked about Wisniewski last night. Talked about, Josh Sitton has some experience at center. Do you go out and get him? But the Matt Paradis situation, I'm not quite as worked up over that as I was yesterday, because as you take a step back and look at the whole situation, why is it that Matt Paradis, the best center, arguably the best center in the NFL, easily the best center in free agency, why is he calling the Denver Broncos to see if they want him back, and they offer him a 1-year deal? Is it that this leg isn't as healed as he's letting on? Are there still concerns over this fractured leg? We don't know, but we do know that it makes no sense when a player with his resume is offered a 1-year deal from the team he wants to play for most, which was Denver. The Jets make no offer. The Bills were rumored to be interested. They moved on from him quickly, which is obviously what the Jets should have done. But this is one of those situations where we don't know what the Jets knew or when they knew it. All we know is they didn't make an offer to Paradis. The Bills pounced on Morse. And now the Jets have to fix that. But I'm not as I said. I think anyone who was upset yesterday about not getting Paradis to block for Le'Veon Bell up front was justified. But when you take a step back and look at what the market did, it's not as if there were 5 or 6 teams and the Jets backed out. From what from all reports, the Jets and Bills were interested. There were no confirmed offers or reported offers. Denver offered a 1-year deal. And Carolina swoops in at the last second and gets him. And maybe it works out for them. That's great. But maybe the Jets are looking at it and saying, listen, do we want to go 10, 11 million a year on a center whose health we're not 100% sure on? It's a tough call. And that right now is the biggest issue facing this team. They've got to get a center. But more on that tonight on JetNation Radio. As I said, this is just a quick recap. A few thoughts on Le'Veon Bell. Adding him to this offense with Quincy, with Herndon, with Robbie, have some real players here in this offense that can bring this offense to the next level, especially if Sam Darnold continues to play at the level he played at late last season and continues to trend in the right direction. So plenty of moves to discuss. Again, we talked about them last night. We'll go more in depth tonight. So be sure to tune in to JetNation Radio. Thank you so much. Have a great day.